Welcome to the Effortless English Show with the world's #1 English teacher, AJ Hogue, where AJ's more than 40 million students worldwide finally learn English once and for all, without the boring textbooks, classrooms, and grammar drills. Here's AJ with a quick piece to help you learn to speak fluent English effortlessly.
I am AJ Hogue, author of Effortless English. Learn to speak English like a native. Pronunciation. We'll have a very small little pronunciation lesson today about stress, emphasis, pronouncing words, and how it can change the meaning of words. We'll be talking about content and content, which are two different meanings, completely two different meanings, depending how you pronounce that word. It's spelled the same, content and content, but they're very, very, very different in meaning. And we'll read a story, a little short fable, a little short story from Aesop's Fables, and learn a little vocabulary and talk about the meaning of the story. Aesop's. A lot of you really like the Aesop lessons, so I'll do Aesop, and we'll talk about this word, content and content. All right, let's get into it. So, as always, this is from the book Aesop's Fables, English translation of the ancient Greek stories. This one's very short. It's called Nature's Punishment of Discontent. Nature's Punishment of Discontent. Kites, this is a kind of bird. A kite is kind of like an eagle. Kites originally had singing voices as clear as any swan. But when they heard horses neighing, they were envious and did their best to imitate them. In trying to acquire this new trick, they lost the ability they already had. They could not learn to neigh, and they forgot how to sing. All right. Let's start with the title, Nature's Punishment of Discontent, which is the opposite of content. And this is where we have our little vocabulary lesson. So content, C-O-N-T-E-N-T, can be pronounced two different ways. You can put the stress, the emphasis at the beginning of the word, content, or you can put the stress on the second half of the word, content. Content. And it changes the meaning, depending which of those. Of course, I'm exaggerating very strongly now. When we say it fast, it's harder to hear sometimes, but this changes the meaning. Of course, you can also guess from the situation, the context. So the first one, when we say content, we stress. We say the first part louder or stronger. Content. Content is, it's whatever is contained. It's the topic, for example, right? You'll read like, what is the content of this blog? What is the content of this website? It means, what's the topic? What's in it? What's in it? You can even talk about a box. If you have a box of stuff, what is the content of that box, right? Or contents. Sometimes we'll use it with an S, contents. So it's what's inside something. But when we emphasize, when we say the second half of the word strongly, we say the end of the word more strongly, content, now it has the meaning of satisfaction, being satisfied, being basically happy with something. I am content with my life, right? I am content with my life. What does that mean? I'm satisfied with my life. I'm happy about my life. I'm content with my job. And it's kind of this word content, contentment is the noun, contentment. It has the idea of kind of like a low level of happiness, not excited, not super excited. Oh, I'm so happy. That's not content. Content means a kind of a very calm, relaxed happiness, right? Just like, yeah, I like it. I'm content. I'm content with my life. I'm content with my health. I'm content with my job. Right? I'm content with this situation. It means I'm okay with it. It has this feeling of like everything's okay. Not super exciting, but not bad. Content. So then back to our story. Back to our story. Now we have the opposite. What's the opposite of content? It's discontent. So when we add dis to the front of the word, it makes it negative. Discontent means you're not satisfied. Again, it's not hate. It's not super strong, right? If you're discontented, right, then it just means you're kind of unsatisfied. You're unhappy about it. Not super unhappy, not hating it, but you're not satisfied, right? You're kind of frustrated maybe. Or you're always looking for something better. Discontent. So the title, Nature's Punishment. Nature, Tao, Logos, Dharma, punishes discontent. So now that's the idea of the story, is that discontent is not a good thing. That when we are discontented, when we're not happy with what we have, when we're not grateful for what we have, then we can actually lose what we have, and then we'll be even less happy. And that's the story of this bird. So a kite is kind of an eagle. It's a kind of bird, similar to an eagle. They originally had singing voices. So these birds actually can't sing. Okay, but it's in the story. He's saying they used to be able to sing as clear as a swan. They had really strong singing voices. But what happened? The birds heard horses neighing, and they were envious. So envy, jealousy is the root of this evil, of this problem. So it's saying that this bird, they heard the horses neighing. A neigh is the sound that a voice makes, like brrr, brrr. I don't know. I can't do a horse. If you have horses, maybe you can do a horse sound. But the sound that a horse makes, it's called a neigh. Right? If you know that song, Old MacDonald Had a Farm. Old MacDonald had a farm. You say, and on that farm he had a horse, E-I-E-I-O, with a neigh here and a neigh there. Right? It's the sound that a horse makes. It's the way a horse talks. So it's saying these birds, they heard the horses making the sound, and they were jealous. They liked that sound. And the birds decided they wanted to make the same sound. They wanted to sound like a horse too. So what they do? They tried to acquire a new trick. They tried to imitate the horses. So they tried to copy the horses. Imitate means to copy. To copy actions. So they tried to imitate the horses, and they tried to make this sound like a horse, but they couldn't do it. And then what else happened? Because they were trying this unnatural sound, this sound that was very unnatural for them, they lost their voice completely, so they also lost the ability to sing. They forgot how to sing. So what's the message of this very short little story? And of course, it's a message about contentment. Why contentment, to be content, is a good thing, a virtuous thing. And the danger of discontentment. When you're always discontent, when you're not happy with what you have already, you start chasing a lot of other things. It's easy to start, to get jealous of other people and try to always get what other people have. Always focusing on what everyone else has that's you think is better than you or different than you. And when you do that, you can actually lose all the good things, or lose some of the good things that you already have. You could see this like, say, a relationship. Let's say a woman, a woman has a good husband, right? Like he's a very good man, and maybe he's not so handsome. Maybe he doesn't make a huge amount of money. He's not a superstar or anything, but he's a very good man, and he's got a good solid job, and he's very kind. But maybe this woman, she starts, she looks and she sees all these like models and actors, or maybe she sees other people. Maybe her sister is married to a guy who's like really, really handsome, and he's really, makes lots of money. And so she starts to envy. Right? And she stops appreciating the good husband she has. And when she stops appreciating him and maybe treats him badly, and then what happens? He might leave. He might say, I'm tired of this. You're treating me badly. And then she loses him, and she also doesn't get this other guy, and now she's totally alone, right? Her discontentment caused her to lose the good man she already had. And of course, men can do this too. You can say it the other way. A man can lose a good wife or a good woman this same way. And we can lose, anything that's good in our life. And this is the danger of greed and envy. And of course, in this story, Aesop specifically mentions envy, jealousy, and it's a very dangerous thing. It's one of the 7 deadly sins. So envy, because when we're always looking around to see who has something better than us, then we forget to appreciate what we already have, right? And this is this chasing more all the time, trying to get more and more. That's discontentment. We're encouraged to be discontent by media, right? Advertising and television and social media too, encourages us to be discontent, to not be happy with what we already have, to feel like, my life's not good enough. Like if you get on Instagram, let's say you get on Instagram and you're trying to be healthy, you want to be healthier and lose weight, and let's say you're quite healthy, you eat well, you exercise, you're healthy, but then you get on Instagram, you see all these people, these Instagram models and fitness people, and they've got like the 4% body fat, and you could just see all the little every single little small muscle in their abs, right, in their belly, in their stomach area, and then you're like, I want more, like, I'm not good enough, right? I'm not as good as them, right? So then you try to do crazier and crazier diets. You can actually hurt your health. Some of those people are not very healthy. A lot of those people, they'll do extreme fasting or other things just for the photos, but the rest of the time they don't look like that, right? Some of those people are not very healthy. Some of them use Photoshop. A lot of them use Photoshop and filters and all these things. So you can actually hurt your health by trying to chase it, right? Like, So the point of this story is be content with the good things you have. Remember all the good things you have in life, not just chasing all these new goals, new things, and more, but that it's very important to appreciate what you already have, to appreciate what you have already achieved, what you have already learned. We've talked about this with your English. If you're already listening to me and you understand me, you already have achieved a very nice level of English. Of course, you want to get better, but also be content, be appreciative, be grateful for the English level you already have, because it's actually already quite good. Right? Don't be stressed about trying to improve your English. Yeah, you keep enjoying English, but don't be stressed about it. And you don't get stressed or upset or discontent because it's not perfect, okay? You'll never be perfect. My English is not perfect either. All right, so in all areas of life, cultivate, gratitude is a nice way to be content when you're grateful. It's always good to regularly, maybe daily, maybe weekly, remember, make a list. You can write it down or just think about it in your head of all the good things in your life. So even when you're having a hard time in life in some area of your life, or maybe a couple areas of your life, you can still find other parts that are good, right? So don't forget those. We tend to focus, especially when there's a problem, we tend to focus on what we don't have. We tend to focus on the problem. We tend to focus too much on what's not going well, and we forget to appreciate all the things that are still very, very good. All right, let's get into our questions and comments now. Today's going to be short. I'm taking my kids to the zoo today. We're going to the zoo. Speaking of animals. Welcome, everyone. We're live on YouTube, as always. Go to effortlessenglishclub.com. That's my website where my courses are, my VIP program, Power English course. Power English is a good one to start with. VIP is the advanced program. I have a pronunciation course. I have a whole course about pronunciation and improving your English pronunciation. And I've got a business English course too. So those are Effortless English Club, C-L-U-B. EffortlessEnglishClub.com. That's my only official website that sells my courses. That's the only website that sells my courses. Everything else is a copy or a fake or something. And be careful. A lot of people get cheated. So go to my website if you want my courses so you don't get cheated. EffortlessEnglishClub.com. Nice. Janelle X-Ray says, I am really content with your lessons. Perfect use of the word. Well done. Kenji Fujita, good to see you. Wonderful teaching and strategy, he says. Thank you. Ava Maya says, hello, teacher. Hello. Anna Grigoreva, one of our very, very regular listeners. Hey, Anna, good to see you. She says, just in time. Mario Lima says, content is a false cognate for to contente in Portuguese. So contente means happy in Portuguese. Well, it's a little false, but it's actually, it gives you kind of an idea, but it's the level, right? So if contente in Portuguese, probably Spanish too, means, it's maybe a stronger word. Right, it's a bigger happiness. In English, it means kind of like a not quite happy, more satisfied, kind of like a little happy. Content in English is a little happy, so it still gives you. It can help you remember the word. Just sometimes we have these, especially European languages that are close together, where it might sound very similar, but the meaning's not quite the same. It can trick us sometimes. And those are called false cognates, as Mario Lima says. Anna Grigoreva says, if you're always complaining about your life, you don't appreciate what you have, so your life is a complete rat race. You don't notice your life. It goes by so quickly. This is a very good point, right? Because if you're always chasing, it's very easy. We're encouraged to do this, right? We're so kind of trained to do this by schools, media, and social media, like I said, now especially. It's always trying to get more, and then we not only can we lose what we have, but our whole life can feel kind of stressful because it's never ends, right? You can always get more money. Doesn't matter how rich you are. You have 10 million, then if you try to get 20 million, you still got that stress, and you never stop to really appreciate. In English, there's an idiom. It says, stop and smell the roses. Stop and smell the roses. Roses are flowers, right? What does it mean? It means that medium means stop and appreciate your life. Stop and notice what's beautiful in your life already. Slow down. Stop chasing. We don't always need more. We don't always need better. Right? Many times we have enough already. And it's okay to try to be excellent or be good at some skill or something, but don't make it the goal of your life, right? Don't let it control your life. Appreciate all the wonderful things. Just being alive. You already have so many wonderful things just being alive. Uhin says hi from Hong Kong. Mateo Sinho, hello from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Sri Lanka, lots of places. Uzbekistan. Naoki, yes, we have a nice day. Naoki's in Japan, so we have a very nice day today in Japan. That's why we're going to the zoo. It's a warm day. So Naoki's just up in Kyoto, I believe. So Naoki says, hello, spring is coming soon. We will see cherry blossoms in Japan. What are your plans for your kids and your wife in the spring? Let's see. Well, today we're going to the zoo. It's not spring quite yet. I think we have a couple days I think we have a warm day today, and then it maybe getting to get colder again a little bit. But we're only 3 weeks away from spring here, so the cherry blossoms will be coming in a few weeks. We have a bunch of birthdays in our family this month. So we're gonna have birthday parties and things, and then we're planning. My plan for spring is Nara. I want to take the kids. The kids are almost 4 years old, and I think they're ready. We're gonna go to Nara in Japan, which is a day trip for us. We can do it in the same day. Maybe we'll spend the night. I'm not sure. We'll see. It's not far from Osaka. But Nara is famous. It's famous for a couple things. It's like the very, very old capital of Japan. So now the capital city is Tokyo. Before Tokyo was Kyoto. Before Kyoto was Nara. So it's the old capital of Japan. And there are some really nice temples there. One very, very big, famous Buddha temple there. It's I've read it's the largest wood building in the world. I don't know if that's true, but I read that somewhere. But anyway, it's a very, very, very big, nice Buddha temple. But probably what most people know about Nara for that's very unusual is that they have deer. All these deer, wild deer, came down from the hills and the mountains, and they walk around inside the city. And there's a park right in the middle of the city, and they've got all these deer walking around. And now, they've been here I don't know when this happened. It happened like a long time ago. They've been there for decades, tens of years, like I don't know, 50 years, something like that. Maybe more than that. I'm not sure. But anyway, so you can go and see the deer, and you can feed them. They sell like special food. You can buy these little kind of crackers called senbei that you can feed to the deer. So I think the kids would be really excited to see the deer. I'm sure that Nara also has a lot of the cherry blossom trees, which are called sakura in Japanese. Very, pink, beautiful. I don't know if we'll go. Sakura season becomes very busy. Everyone's going out seeing the pink flowers in Japan, so it can be a little busy for traveling. So, but sometime, just as the weather gets warm, I'm going to take. I think maybe we'll take a family trip to Nara. So those are our spring plans. And then summer we'll go to the beach and get some other ideas. Okay, Edith Guzman says, "What course do you recommend to me? I understand you 100%, but I don't appear to think anything." If you understand me 100%, but you want to improve your fluency, I would go with Power English, maybe. Power English or VIP. It's hard for me to know. It depends on your speaking level. If you feel like your speaking is just not very good, like you're really having a problem with speaking and fluency, start with Power English. If you feel like your speaking is pretty good, but you want to be advanced, then do VIP. That's my recommendation. It's funny, someone mentioned this. Do you think ChatGPT can take over English teaching in the future? I got to check out ChatGPT. I was just talking to my jiu-jitsu instructor, Tiago, about ChatGPT yesterday. He was telling me about it, so it sounds interesting. I have to check it out. I think, for like the old style of teaching, of just using like a textbook, yes, that kind of technology could take it over pretty easily. But the future is independent learning, what you're doing now. That's the future. So, you can use people like me and courses and coaches, and you can do a lot by yourself too, using books and audiobooks, websites like Link. There's that kind of approach is the best way, I think, to learn. Well, I think to learn anything. Not just language, it's anything, independent learning. I mean, same what I'm doing with my kids, they're homeschooling. And of course, as 4-year-olds, 3 and 4-year-olds, I'm doing a lot of direct teaching with them right now. They're learning to read now in both languages, Japanese and English. But as they get older, they'll become more and more independent. And my job as a parent, homeschooling, one of my main jobs for their education is to train them, to teach them to be independent learners, how to find information, how to figure things out. If they say, Dad, I want to learn to play the guitar. I mean, yeah, you can send them to a music school, but I think a better approach nowadays is to say, okay, how can you learn the guitar? Where could you look? How could you teach yourself guitar? How could you learn independently at home? Learn the guitar. And of course, there's so many ways. You can start looking online. You can look for books and things like that, music books and courses. You could look for some kind of online, video courses and things. And then, of course, YouTube is full of music teachers, guitar teachers of all different kinds, some that teach more like music theory, some that teach only chords, some that will just teach you specifically how to play one specific song, right? There's so much, right? You don't have to join some music school. You can do it all at home. And that's true for, pretty much any topic at this point. So learning to be an independent learner is a big thing, and training your kids to be independent learners. This is why I'm so against schools, because sending them to a school, what do they learn? They learn that, how are they trained? They get the idea that education, that learning means sitting in a chair, listening to someone talk and taking notes, memorizing it, and then taking a test, right? Because that's what you do for all those years of school all day long. And this idea gets very deep. And then as they get older and become adults, they think that, well, that's how you learn things. But that's probably the worst way to learn anything, is to passively sit and listen to a lecture. There's so many other ways now you can do it and be your own boss of learning and learn more quickly, get better results, and enjoy it more. Independent learning is awesome. This is cool. Anna says, my grandmother was the happiest person I've ever remembered, that I can remember. She always lived in a little wood home. It was clean and cozy there. She always prayed, fasted, worked a lot, never complained. Yes, wonderful. See, that's an example of a happy, content life. Not chasing, oh, I gotta have the newest iPhone. Oh my God. And Amani's listening from Saudi Arabia. It's 4 a.m. in Saudi Arabia. I'm glad you're listening. Wow. You're up late or you're up early. I'm not sure. One of the two. Strong Power says it's 6:30 in my country. What about your country? It's about 10:45 in the morning here in Japan. Yeah, Mara Mag says, my life is not perfect, but I'm proud of my achievements. I look forward to being better. Perfect is a theoretical idea. That's why I love this Japanese word kaizen, this idea of small, gradual improvements, continual improvements, right? Forget the idea of perfection, even forget the idea of making a big improvements quickly, and just focus on these tiny improvements each day or each week, gradually, and let them add up. And because it encourages you to focus more on this moment now instead of the problem with big goals sometimes and trying to have big improvements sometimes. It's good. We enjoy it. It can be good sometimes, but there's also can have a danger or a problem, and that's that we're always thinking about the future instead of now. Yeah, like Naoki says, I think happiness doesn't last for a long time, but I believe that contentment can last for a long time. What do you think about this? Yes, exactly. It's a very dharmic idea, right? Because when we say happiness, we kind of think of peaks. I mean, it's almost natural, almost the meaning of the word, right? Because it means it like a high level of emotion. I'm so happy, right? But contentment is a kind of positive, it is a kind of happiness, but a calmer version that we can have all the time, even when we're having problems. We can still generally be content, right? We don't need frequent highs all the time, to be excited all the time. It's very American. Maybe other countries too, but Americans especially, this idea of always trying to be so excited, and sometimes it's very unnatural. Like you can go to a social event with Americans and like a party, let's say, especially younger people. But in general, I'd say in general, that, and like everybody's trying to like kind of almost forcing it to be like to act so excited and so enthused. Hey, oh my God, oh, it's so awesome, it's so great. There are all these very exaggerated language. And I know this is a stereotype of Americans, and it's true, though. It is a true stereotype of Americans that, of course, that generally there is this almost like a social pressure to be excited and right? Everything's always excited, great, oh, wow, right? And so the danger of that and the problem with that is then always trying to chase that, right? Trying to chase that or even pretend, always having to be up, 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 up. It's exhausting, I think. And it can kind of, makes people forget to just calmly be content instead of always having to chase some kind of, extreme. And Anna follows up about her grandmother saying, one day we tried to give her something for her birthday. She said, I've already have everything I want. My children, my grandchildren, my little home, animals to take care of. It's everything. It's all. You see, exactly. And what more do we need, really? Materially, nothing. Oh, cool. Jose Espinoza says, AJ, I want to say thank you for your podcast. I've been improving a lot, improving my English a lot and my life. Thank you, AJ. You're welcome. Yeah, Manish Monohara says, I see lots of changes in you since you first made Effortless English a long time back. You're now unrecognizable in a good way. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. But I look back, but I like your old look also. Simple and humble and passionate. Love you from India. Yes, thank you. Yes. We do. We change as hopefully we do in a good way. Hopefully we grow somewhat wiser from experience and we continue to learn and try to learn. Not chasing more and more and more to get more things. But, I'd say when I was younger, you can see this in my earlier Effortless English shows, that I was always trying to be excited. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kind of Tony Robbins style. Again, Tony's American, so it's very American. Yeah, like at some point I decided, I just started to recognize that I don't need to always be excited, right? And it's not always excitement. There are many kinds of happiness. Like I'm much more content now. I was probably much more chasing things and goals and trying to get things and trying to build the business. And yeah, we need to do that actually at some points in our life. And especially when we're younger, this can be somewhat necessary. But, I think hopefully as we grow, if you're young, some of you young, wise people will do this when you're young, and good for you. So we learn to also just value contentment more and start to realize, because I'm kind of like Anna's grandmother in my own life now, where I don't need anything more. I'm very content with what I have now. I can't think of anything I want more materially. Spiritually, maybe. I know I have a long way to go, but in terms of just material life, I don't need more money. I don't need more things. None of it. Very very, very, very happy with my family, and everything else. So it's a good thing. Contentment. It's a very peaceful feeling. Yeah, Dulang Kayo says, you can lose a wonderful thing just because you put your focus on what you don't have in your control. Good point. Oh, that's a good point. Instead of appreciating the value of what you already have, be content with what you have. This is a very good point that he makes, that this is the worst kind of discontent, is when we focus on things that we can't even control. And then we, instead of appreciating what we have and being grateful with what we have, we focus on something that is out of our control, like the economy, like politics, like, I don't know, there's many things. I don't know, the weather, things like that, which are totally outside our control completely. And, we do it. I do it sometimes. I'll complain about the weather, and then I'll think, well, that's crazy. It's absolutely insane. I don't like cold, so sometimes being in the winter, I'm like, oh no, another cold day. But it's crazy to do. It's insane because we have zero control. Sofiane Crouch says, thank you for your fantastic videos and all the valuable information you share. You're an amazing teacher, and your passion for English is contagious. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Wow, Uzmanov Dilmurad, good to see you as always. Spring has come. Not quite here, but we can taste it. It's close. I want to do a challenge for myself. My goal is to study English 6 hours a day during the spring. Fantastic. Just enjoy it. That's the main thing. Make it an enjoyable thing. Tom Young says, AJ, do you have a permanent residency in Japan? Yes, this is my home. I live in Japan. Ahmet says, it seems almost impossible to focus and pronounce the TH sound correctly. Oh, all the time, especially in speaking. What do you recommend? I do have a video about it on YouTube, TH. You can just search on YouTube, TH, AJ Hogue. But, doing it in a full conversation when you're speaking, right? So you can probably do it when you focus just on the sound. The. It has two pronunciations, right? But, yeah, of course, but then when you're talking, you're focusing on what you're saying, and you might find that you're making mistakes. It takes time. I would say relax about it. Work on it. Maybe, I would say work on it 5 minutes a day. That once, since this sound is giving you problems, take 5 minutes and work on that sound, both the soft and the vibrating sound. Like you can pronounce the word, the, and I don't know, think, right? Think is the soft one, and the. And just say a bunch of words, and try to maybe listen to those words. Probably find some videos. My pronunciation course has a whole lesson on TH. And work on it for 5 minutes a day. And then when you're speaking in a conversation, don't think about it too much, right? You just have to gradually improve, but don't get stressed about it. It's normal to have some sounds that you struggle with. Tom Yang says there's some guy who says his name is AJ. He lives in China. He sells English courses. He's probably a fake, probably a pirate. So be careful, because you're probably cheating people, taking people's money, and not giving you anything. Oh, Amina says, I don't know where to put punctuation marks. Should I focus on reading to learn punctuation marks? Yes. Reading will help your punctuation, which is part of grammar, written grammar. So yes, do a lot of reading of books and things like that. It's a good way to start. Adi the Thai, good to see you. A couple more minutes, then I got to go because I'm going to the zoo today. Benito Estabaya Jr. says, "You are one of the best teachers I've ever known. I've been using your easy stories with my students. They're enjoying them so far, better than using a textbook." Yeah, great. The stories are so much better than textbooks. So much better. Good. Use that method, TPRS, TPR, storytelling. Anyone teaching a class, an English class, any of you who are English teachers who teach students, face to face, that method, that storytelling method is gold. It's fantastic. Okay, here's a very interesting question. Mohammed Nural, let me try to pronounce your name. Nuralayev. Hello, teacher. Please give me some advice. If I want to earn money as a teenager, should I try and take a risk or not? People around me say you can't do it, and I'm 17. Do it. I'm gonna say the opposite. Do it, but a risk. This is the point. No, you don't take a big risk. Take a small risks. I'll give you an example from my own life. In fact, about the same age as you, 17. When I think I was about 17, actually. Yeah. I was in school, and my parents would give me an allowance. What's an allowance? They would give me like a little money each week to, just buy little small things. But it was not much. It was very, very little. And, like a lot of kids, I wanted to buy more, and I thought, it's not enough. I complained to my parents. They said, sorry, get a job, So I was thinking, I don't want to work at a job. What can I do? So I noticed that, like the kids in the school would get, hungry, right? Want a snack and things. And so what I started doing is I would go to the grocery store and buy a big package of candy bars and gum, chewing gum. Big. So it was kind of cheap, right? So I used some of my allowance money. Then I took it to school and I would sell to other students, of course, at a higher price, right? Because I bought it bulk. I bought it like, a large amount, like a box of 20 candy bars. Then I would sell each student just one candy bar and, maybe 50% more, or maybe double the price, something like that. And quickly students started to, learn that I had I was always had this in my bag. I always had snacks. So I actually started making decent money. I mean, not like, I didn't become rich. I wasn't buying cars or anything, but I got a lot of extra money that way. And it was really easy. And, why didn't the students just buy something at the store before school or something? Who knows? People are lazy, and I made it convenient. It was a very simple little business. It was super low risk, right? I wasn't going to really lose much money doing that. So that's the kind of business you can start if you really don't have money and you're young. Unless you have like a real skill. If you have some kind of skill or like an idea for a bigger business, then do it as long as you're not risking huge amounts of money. That's the key point. Low risk. Whatever you're doing for your business, do it low risk, but you're 17. Who cares? Do it. Yeah, you're old enough to start a business. You're old enough to do it. So do it. Ako saying hi from Tokyo. I went to KL, Malaysia on a business trip for 15 days. KL is a nice city. I just came back here. I had no worries, fears when I spoke English for a business. Oh, that's great. So I got to speak English for business in Malaysia and had no problems. Congratulations, Ako. That's fantastic. Very good. How do you pronounce the word Phuket? Phuket, the city in Thailand. I pronounce it Phuket. Benito Estabaya says, what's the difference between the adverb pretty and quite? Basically the same. Like you can say, it's pretty hot today. It's quite hot today. Very similar. Maybe quite is stronger. Probably stronger. Quite meaning, quite has more feeling of very. If you say it's quite cold today, it's very cold today. It's pretty similar. It's pretty hot today. It's pretty cold today. It's a little softer, a little weaker, so maybe not quite as hot, not quite as cold, right? So it's kind of less than very. It's kind of like a mild very. Oh, very nice. People always invite to the country. Horo Vestine says, I am from Rwanda. You're welcome to our beautiful country. Thank you very much. I'd love to do some traveling again. We'll see. Hopefully soon we'll start traveling and taking the kids and the family. Never been to Africa. Never been to South America. 2 whole continents I've never been to. Yeah, see, cool. Adi the Thai says, I started my business when I was 10. And I made money from labor when I was 7. There you go. You can start really young. Okay. I think we're about done. Okay, in fact, yeah, it's 11. It's time for me to get ready to go to the zoo with my kids. The zoo. All right, so today, just to recap, a summary of our topic today, we talked about the difference in pronunciation, how some words change meaning depending on the stress, right? Content, content, 2 different meanings. And then we read the story from Aesop's Fables, right, about the bird that was discontent, right? That the importance of being content with what you have in life already, the importance of being grateful for what you already have. I will see you next time. I'll get I know the audio podcast is behind. I haven't added audios yet to the audio podcast. I've got a lot of them I need to do. I will do it. Sorry for the delay. Join my VIP program. Join my Power English course, any course, business English, pronunciation, effortlessenglishclub.com, effortlessenglishclub.com. Go there, join a course. Mwah! Lots of love. See you next time.